welcome in. Flow and charts here. Feel free to e yeah, I can touch on that here in a second, OXT. Flow and charts starting here. If you have questions about flow, unusual whales, anything market related, feel free to drop them in the chat. Flow you want me to take a peek at, I can take a peek at that. So OXT, all the trades I'm taking, I post those in the flow alerts, the ETF flow alerts, and or they're in the flow and charts there. So that's flow that I'm taking there. So all of that is in there. Obviously, that's anything you see on that tracked spreadsheet is flow that I'm taking as well too there. So if you look at that spreadsheet tracking everything from the flow alerts channel, ETF flow alerts, and flow and charts would be on that spreadsheet, and those are track trades, and those are trades that I'm taking as well too. Um, Flow wise right now, let's take a peek at our Periscope, and we'll look at our market tide here. Periscope right now, we rejected that really high positive gamma up there a little earlier in the day. We did just get a flip here and a lot of negative gamma kind of building down here. Looks like that's getting kind of or that upper 6600 and 6605 gamma is decreasing here and seeing kind of them moving the positions down here. Typically that would be a bearish sign there. Keeping eyes on that as well there. Other than that, let's see our SPY call premiums just slightly bid side there. Put premiums have ticked up a little bit here, but I am just kind of watching this 65.80 here because we did get that flip there to positive gamma. I would be looking to possibly short that, and through that negative gamma here would be looking for an acceleration down. So keeping eyes on that and kind of tying that in with that SPY flow from the ETF flow alerts here. So OXT, to answer your question, I did take some of these here. I typically don't take that strike that I post there. I trade a little closer to the money contracts there. If you're taking like the flow alerts or anything like that, I would suggest at least kind of looking at that same strike as that whale and or a little closer to the money. I wouldn't go further out of the money, but I did take some of these as well. Yeah, what else do we got kind of coming in here? Market tide here. Yeah, overall market tide calls were at their peak a little earlier here. You're seeing kind of them starting to kind of roll over a little bit. Puts are starting to kind of curl up just a teeny bit here. Still a bullish market tide here. Just internally there, you did have some volume drop off there, so just keeping an eye on that, as well as that 65.80 there. If we come back up there, I would maybe potentially look to take a quick scalp there and try to aim down there. Otherwise, flow-wise, it's been pretty quiet flow-wise today. And if you guys want me to look at anything flow related, feel free to drop it in there. It's just been really. Oh, I only want today. I don't want a week out. I don't know why I have a week out on there. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's been again pretty quieter day. I'm still on one page here. I usually busier day when you start getting 2 or 3 pages there, but just kind of looking at it. I mean, the INSPs we touched on Whale Watch a little earlier, and oof, yeah, those are absolutely making a big move up there. I need to take a picture of those here. Let's see. Yeah, those made a good move there from the Whale Watch episode earlier. But yeah, other than that, the flow has been pretty quiet otherwise. Some AMD puts here. Again, a lot of the flow just not looking super textbook here. You're not gonna see 1,000 trades a day anyways. It's about 90% of the flow that you look at is not always the best looking. So when these come in, so our IV's at 5201, you get a little pop there, another little pop there. This is a repeated hits ascending fill. These look pretty good overall as buying to open those. AMD is up about 3.5% on the day so far. Time on those. And then keep in mind we do have Trump speaking tonight at 9 Eastern, so markets will be keeping an eye on that as well there. So let's see what else we got. Yeah, the ETF one, those SPY puts looked pretty good here. About 9 days left on those. Just kind of coming in there. And these, pretty textbook looking here. Take a peek at these. So you just see how that IV is that 30.25 here. Spot is filling up the ask. Just kind of following this up. You see that IV increasing. Spot price also increasing here. These look good here. I did take up some of those as well. What else do we got coming in? Yeah, our other flow alerts, our tracked flow alerts for the day here. So let's kind of go and take a peek at those. And I didn't get to stream yesterday because my internet kind of crapped out. Those short AMD puts here, they're technically sitting pretty break even here. Again, 29% out of the money, and these have 37 days on them. Remember, when they're selling puts or calls, they're looking for theta to eat those contracts away. So they want these contracts to expire worthless. So as long as AMD finishes above that 150, this whale will secure profit there. And I'm just kind of looking at that IV, you just see it kind of dropping there, kind of rising there. Again, repeated hits descending fill, looks pretty good there. And you can kind of just look at that out of the money percentage as well there too. Obviously anything can happen, but the likelihood of AMD dropping 30% in a month, pretty unlikely, I'd say. Again, anything can happen, but more than likely you're not going to see that happen. Those QQQ calls from yesterday, absolute nice move on those as well. I need to take this out. This was from our whale watch. FCX from Friday's stream. I believe it was Friday's stream, yes. Friday's stream, and one of our flow alerts there. I mean, big move on those as well too. So a lot of big movers there. And ONDS, I took some of these at a discount. I ended up cutting them on Monday there. I just couldn't hold, and it's not holding that 9 level very well there. It looks like most of this volume is still in, though we haven't really seen a big drop in that open interest and not a lot of heavy volume. So that whale looks to still be in. Again, some time on those. But other than that, yeah, we'll have a good recap here on Friday as well, or Thursday, because we are closed on Friday. But I'm watching that 6580. You just see how we're kind of coming up to that right now. You're just not seeing really explosiveness over this. This is essentially your buffer here. You're looking for price to kind of slow there, and then your negative gamma is your acceleration zone. And I am looking at the interval flow feed time as well, just kind of seeing some 0 DTE calls come in right now. Puts and calls kind of coming in there, just nothing super out of the ordinary there. Believe we are probably back up to the VWAP now. Yeah, we're coming back up to the VWAP. So at the spot you're in right now, if you were looking to kind of scalp this, you know you're up at VWAP, that 6580 is right there. Could be a good spot for a little short there, possibly. How's our tide looking? Yeah, just kind of calls are slightly declining there, so we'll keep an eye on that and come back and check that there. But yeah, that 6580 looks good. And we'll get another update here in about a minute and a half or so. What have you guys been seeing for flow today? I know Bean's probably got some good flow that he's seen today, possibly. Yeah, nothing for flow. How about? Yeah, no, hey, and OXC, this is a great. The streams are a very great place to learn. Ask some questions, man. I tell people ask questions because there's a lot to learn and it can seem very overwhelming. Please ask questions. And don't feel like any question is dumb either. Um, yeah, so OXT. So this might be a good stream to kind of do that because we're not getting a lot of good flow today. Do do you have filters set up? What are you kind of like? Where are you at unusual whales wise there? Like if you need help setting up filters, I mean anything, please ask and we can go over it in the stream there. This is the best time to get questions here. It's essentially one-on-one help here in the Discord during the streams here. I gotta plug my headset in here, so 1 second, you guys. Yeah, no, that's my biggest thing. So if you're new, it does seem overwhelming. It will seem overwhelming at first. The main thing that you want to do first though is set up your filters there. So if you're looking for filters, and let me actually go grab them from the learning area there. Let's see, filters. So here, let me just pop this into the chat here. So if you go to these filters here, these are my ask side filters, bid side filters, ETF filters. Um, it, they're very good beginner filters, and I do have a video. Let me pull that from YouTube as well here for you. The filtering is the biggest thing. If you're not if your filters aren't set up, the nicest thing I can say is you're probably not going to be set up for success. I know Lilu, Pipsy, Bean in here, they are very good with their filters, and they can probably agree with me and let you know that the filters are probably the number one thing when you're trying to learn flow. Because if you're getting bad flow, it will make it very difficult there. Well, yes, Bean, I know you use mine, but I know you probably adjust them a little bit. I know you probably adjust them a little bit. And again, the fill. Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm not trying to have a big ego, Bean. I'm not trying to have a big ego. So everything kind of comes from. So his name's Snorlax underscore on UW on Twitter. All of his stuff is all the filters essentially come from he's pretty much the OG of the flow and all that. So he has really good filters. Everybody's filters are pretty much based off his. I will drop my video in here instead of blabbing about that still. Give me 1 second here. But yeah, the filtering will always be the biggest thing here, and I will drop a video here. Let me find it. Filters. Alright, here we go. Let me just share this in here for you. Yeah, if you watch this video, it's a very basic setup on how to kind of create the filters. Um, so that's I'm gonna say the answer because other people will be watching the stream too. So how do I capitalize on the information? Follow whales that do big buys for day trade. So that comes down. It's kind of a wide. You're gonna get kind of a wide answer on that one. Yeah, Bean, please judge when I'm done. Please judge when I'm done. So, for example, like the spy puts that come in, we can go off those. So when you're looking at the flow here, like that 410 16 616 put G's. So this hits my feed. What I see right away kind of here is I like to see what that spot is filling. That spot is just the contract fill price. I see these are filling at the ask here. That can potentially mean they're being bought to open there. So that would mean this specific person is expecting SPY to drop. So if we look at these, so I always click on that, and let me pop this to the 1 day. So this is how your flow looks. So what you're trying to do essentially is find opening flow as well. So this whale came in with 10,000 contracts. There were only 1,100 open contracts at the time. So you know this is an opening trade. This is a brand new position being created. No doubt about that. And I'll see if I can find an example of the other one too. So like if this was only like, let's just say 100 contracts coming in, you don't know if that whale's closing possibly. You don't know what's kind of going on. They could be changing hands, so on. This though, you can 100% identify this as an opening trade because that 10,000 contracts coming in is significantly larger than that open interest. So that is the first thing you should start kind of doing when you're looking for flow. So your next thing, I kind of look at the net premiums here, just kind of see what's going on, and you can adjust this kind of 14 days out. Again, this isn't 100% make or break or anything. It just kind of shows you what the overall premiums are doing. So anything above that middle line is going to be considered ask side. So if like right now calls are ask side there, so it would presumably mean that they're being bought there, and your puts are bid side. But you can see that puts are kind of climbing as well too. So that's something that I would take note of too. But kind of looking at this, and again, these are 9 days out. This whale's probably not looking for an intraday move. So that kind of comes down to the next thing, the next part of your question about kind of capitalizing on the info for day trades. So I look at the days to expiration here. So obviously, let's say we have something coming in on a weekly expiration, 3 days out or so. Like you try to think of it in that expiration format. So you know these contracts are expiring in, let's just say, 3 days here. You know that whale's kind of looking for a quicker move versus, let's say, you have contracts that come in 100 days out, 100 days until the expiration. More than likely, that whale isn't expecting a very fast move. They're a little more probably long term on that position. Again, sometimes you can see that longer term flow move quicker. But so for this example, the SPY puts here. So I know they're 9 days out. There's some time on those, and they're not multi-leg here, so that is a good sign. They're 6% out of the money. Again, you know and I try to think again 3D-ish. What's going on? Like we know we have Trump speaking about Iran tonight. You know that could be a possible hedge. Could be somebody planning for something, some not so good news. And the market has also, I mean, over the last couple days here, we're up a little bit. So from our close back on, what was that, 330 there, the market's moved up about 3.78%. So it's a decent sized move up. So you could see some potential profit taking, maybe see a red day, and this is a pretty light volume day too, actually as well too. So that's kind of something to keep in mind there too. Lighter volume could potentially mean not heavy buying into that specific name, this one being SPY. So I know that this will, I would say, maybe shorter midterm on these. Now, if we go in, so my next step here is looking at the actual flow. So if we click on the big large candle, it will bring you into that little raw flow area. And what you're looking for and this takes screen time to handle, or not handle, but just kind of learn and see what you're looking for. So let's go find that big trade here, and I need to, come on, come on. Okay. So when that flow comes in, so there's certain columns I'm paying attention to when I'm looking for the flow. I'm paying attention to the timing, paying attention to the bid ask, paying attention to the spot, your size, premium, your IV, and that rule column as well. So with this one, what I'm looking for, so when you're seeing that ask side flow there, you're looking for a potential buy. So I would try to see if this whale is potentially buying to open this position here. We know it's an opening position for sure. We just don't know if they're, selling the puts at the ask or buying the puts at the ask. And this is where this step is really important. So you look at that IV when that comes in. So this is repeated hits. And if you want to kind of look at the little rules that they kind of explain there, if you come over here to the flow alerts tab and you come over to rules here, this will tell you what each kind of rule means, so on in there. And if you only want flow that does have the flow alerts, you can just hang out on the flow alerts and you would set your filters up very similarly to the flow feed. I like staying on the overall flow feed. Just sometimes there's not a flow alert that's attached to it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad flow. But this flow, so it's coming in at that 1334 here. I'm Central Standard Time. Just make sure to kind of pay attention to your timing up there. So what I'm seeing here is that flow comes in, and this will show you that alert too. So this is part of all part of that flow alert. And again, just kind of looking at that timing too. You get an eye for it after a while. That timing is all the same. That spot price is filling at the ask here. Your IV increases here. So you have to look at the totality of it. So this is the oldest flow first here. And you can see it's all coming in at the same second. So, I mean, just logically, it's probably the same person there. So IV spikes when it comes in. Spot is filling at the ask here. Let's just follow these up. And I'm keeping an eye on this that entire time here. Spot is at the ask. IV is up. We are looking good here. And let's go back to this part here as well. Oops. Okay, I need to, because I went back too far. So, okay, let's come here. Okay. So IV is at that 30.25 again that we were looking at. Spot is filling at the ask here. Just continuing to follow this up. Just looking for any changes in that IV or that spot price, that spot fill. Timing's continuing to be the same. So, okay, well, this is something that catches my eye now. You see that fill versus spread essentially coming in the middle here. What I do in this situation is I look at the size here and that premium. So this is 21 contracts out of, or 21 contracts traded there at 149 there. Essentially still at the ask there, and you can see kind of after too that spot price increases. So you're getting that ascending fill as well there too. So this one is marking as a mid fill there. It's truly at the ask essentially there. It's going to say it's neutral, but you can just kind of look at that flow after and see, okay, well, that spot price rises, and then your IV is also rising here too. So just kind of following this up. This looks like a buy to open to me. And why does it look like a buy to open? Your spot price is increasing, your IV increases there. Almost all your contracts here are filling at the ask here. And if you hover over that candle as well too, it'll tell you how many exact contracts are filling at the ask. So you have 99.80 contracts filling here at the ask, and you only have 21 filling at the mid, which that mid was that ask as well there too. So that's kind of what I do when I dive into the flow there. And again, just because that flow, like this flow is pretty textbook flow, this is what I would consider textbook flow, doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to work out. Like, for all we know, this could be a possible hedge. We don't know. Now, what I like to do as well too is, I know I'm 9 days out on these. maybe I'm looking for a discounted entry here. So let's just head over to the 1 hour chart here. So, okay, well, maybe if I'm looking to get in that flow, now the whales don't always get the best fills either there. So, like, maybe I'm looking on that hour candle here. Hey, maybe if we get up to this kind of 659-ish area, or even just kind of a rough little resistance spot there, like maybe that 658.80. Maybe I'll grab the puts then or so. Like it's nice to kind of match your levels with the flow there, but there's kind of a lot that goes into it. But once you kind of keep going through it and learning it and watching it, it takes time to learn it. Like you're not gonna learn it overnight. I there's a lot of people that kind of expect the results instantly. It's definitely not going to happen. It takes a long time to understand this, but Benny's dropping us some flow here. So let me go over the flow and we'll be able to kind of see it in real time how it possibly looks there. I want to just look at this here. Okay, so we're kind of coming back up to that positive gamma there. Interesting. Okay, so let's look at that flow that Benny sent us, and we'll be able to do this in real time, and you'll get a better example. So we have first up the LEN 90 call for 410 of this year. So let's take a peek here. So here's how that flow looks right now. We have 1,000 contracts coming in. We know this is an opening trade. There's only 77 open contracts at the time. That 1,000 is larger than that 77. 100% sure this is an opening trade. Now we have to figure out if this is a buy to open. So we're kind of looking at this. I like these, and again, oh, excuse me. Let me grab a drink here quick. So why do I like these? I see two things right here. You have an ascending fill essentially there, so 115 and up to 120. That 44.62 then increases to 45.66. This flow looks very good. Again, I would assume this is a buy to open. This whale is 9 days out on these. They do not overlap earnings. And have they made a move here? So they're 5% out of the money, not very far out of the money. That's a good sign. And these, so 117. They're trading about 125 there. And what was that? I think that fill was 125 on those. Let's go look. Oh, 120. So, okay, they're just slightly green on those. But yeah, like this is what you're looking for here, Benny, with a good example there. Again, very clean looking flow there. I would say these look good. Maybe take a peek at the net put or the net premiums here, just the last 7, 14 or so days. These Bean, you can go back and watch the video later. Um yeah, so at the time, so that 1015, 1020. So you see that spike in that net call premium there. This whale caused that spike there, so that's something that catches my eye as well there. So let's just kind of go down here, and this trade was 20% of that total premium there. This is a very sizable trade on this name, so you know this whale is accounting for 20% of that total premium on this name too. Very, yeah, thank you for dropping that, Bean. Very good example there, very good example. um Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I think that's one of my older ones too. I think that's a pretty older one. I've did so many where they did that. I use it. I use it to format my stuff. The data, everything else is all me. No, I use it to format the stuff. I'm not scared to say that. I'm not gonna sit there and type everything out. Like, why would I? It's 2026. But it's what you put into it that makes it valuable or not. So these lens, I would say these look good. 9 days. So I'd be looking for maybe a shorter, quick midterm move on that. Let's do the IEF 94 put. Um, yeah, let's look at IEF and I can answer that question there too as well for you, Benny. So 1 second there. So okay, ooh, this is a interesting one. So this is a multi-leg one here. So I'm paying attention up here. So the big multi-leg ones I tend to stay away from. I'm not a multi-leg trader. I don't like to follow them. So let's just kind of look at this here. So it face value it looks good. So again, that's why you can't just kind of go face value and say, oh, it's ask side, it's a buy. Not necessarily. So the IEFs here are part. Oh, they're rolling those out. So these are a roll here. So they're rolling those puts out. So it's good. This is like an easy one to kind of do, but yeah, they would be rolling out those puts. You don't get that full like clean read there. I just want to look at yesterday's volume. 14. Yeah, no, it's they're rolling those puts out there. So they're still expecting downside there. Again, I just don't like multi-leg trades. There's just so much that can go into it. But let me do the SYM, and then I can answer your question as well about the looking at that percent there too. Okay. So SYM. So let's see. We have 800 contracts here. Definitely an opening trade. 800 is bigger than the 167. We know this is 100% identifiable in an opening trade. Now let's see if we can get an idea if it is buy to open and so on. So very good example here. This is textbook flow here. You can see your spot prices increasing as it's coming in. It's an ascending fill. Repeated hits ascending fill. That is a one thing that you always want to keep an eye out for. They are yeah, that's a very good looking flow there. And then your IV as well here too. You have a spike in each little level there. Obviously your last two they're finishing at 74. This is textbook flow here. This is what you want to see here. Pretty much exactly like this. Now if that spot was filling at the ask the full way and that IV was increasing, that would almost be pretty much perfect flow there. But the ascending fill is also a good sign there too because they're filling those contracts up there. So this one, yeah, that's a very good piece of flow there that you found there. Very good piece of flow. So now to answer your question about looking at that percent of the total premium, I just like to see how big that whale is there. So like this is 11% of that total premium traded on SYM today, and let's just go kind of look at this. So these came in at 950, 955. So it looks like, again, your little spike here is from this individual whale there. Now, again, just keep in mind, because it's perfectly textbook and everything looks good, doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to work out. SYM is up 3.68% on the day. Something like this, I'm more than likely going to try to find a discounted entry. I'm not big on chasing something that's already up significantly on the day. So, and to expand on the SYMs here too, we have another large spike here at this 11:35ish time. If you want to try to find where that big spike is now, so let's go back here, SYM, come down here. I look at the highest volume contracts on the day because that is what's going to be making that price go up, and I'm going to guess it's probably that 11:20.75 call. So we had that spike again. It was at, what did I say, 11:30, 11:35. So you had 466,000 in premium come in there. Then you do have a little mid-side fill there. This does not take into account to anything mid-side. It has to be at the ask or the bid for it to impact this. So this mid-side is not part of this. So kind of looking at that chain, this is a higher multi-leg that out of the money, kind of large. Again, very long term. I'm not a big long term trader. I can um Sorry, I just saw a tweet here. Looks like let's see. Trump is reportedly set to use his primetime address to argue the U.S. has met or exceeded its military goals. Blah blah blah. Let me blah. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting to me there. See what happens with that. But so like this name, and let's come down here and look at this here. Sorry, I always have my peripherals going on my phone looking for anything. So like this one is 17% of that total volume here. Now keep in mind a lot of that's the mid fill here too, but that was your reason for that second spike there. And let's just kind of look at this here as well. Yeah, and again, it's multi-leg, so you don't get a clean read. And this is a very odd multi-leg because it doesn't even show anything related to it. But yeah, that's a good way to kind of look at that. There, I do like that first SYM you sent me there. That 417.62.5, that looked pretty good. All right, what else do we got here? I want to see what Periscope's doing here. So a lot of negative gamma there. Market tide did, and we are kind of popping there. Somewhere went to, yeah, no, your filters looked good. And again, just always keep in mind, just because your filter is everything looks good on it, doesn't necessarily always mean that flow is going to work out. Just always be smart and protect your capital. That should always kind of be your biggest thing there. Yep, yeah, that's a very good point there too. Being you always have to look at that raw flow. What's the contract? What was that USR contract? I can probably go find it here quick, unless you drop it quickly for me. Let's just see USAR. Oh, here we go. It was the 424.15 call. So this one, again, little time on those, This one, so that 146. So again, this is why you have to kind of, if you see profits, be smart, take those profits. These were trading at 146 yesterday. They opened up at that 180.81. 146 to 181, that is, someone do the math in their head for me, 14, 28, I mean 25% or so. That's a significant return. Throw a stop on secure profits. Just because that whale is still in doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in. If you see profits, throw a stop on. These actually looks like they were trading at 192, so from that 146 up to 192-ish there, we'll say 181 because it's not really showing. That's, somebody do the math for me. 146, 181, so 14, so 28, 30. Yeah, like the high 20% there, maybe a little in the 30% there. I'm not doing math in my head. I'm not the math expert there. Yep, exactly. And see, like if you secure those profits, like you're up significantly, throw a stop on, secure those profits. Like you see, we're trading at 170 there, then you're trading at 160 there. You have time to secure some profits in there. And let's just say you still really like that flow, even though that whale is red on those now, but you secured your profit. If you still really like that flow, now look, they're trading just slightly kind of below that entry. You could get a discounted entry and then you're recycling your profits. You don't, yeah, I never would say to follow these whales because a lot of the time these whales will come in and then their contracts expire worthless, or again a very good one. Let me come back here. Like these cipher calls from the flow and the flow alerts there. Like you don't know what. So here was that cipher whale came in 324, kind of it open. There was a big gap up that next day. So that whale was trading at 132. They were trading at 213 that next day. That's about a 70% gain on those. And they're just chopping up at that level for most of the day. I am taking profits on something like that because you never know what can happen. And look what happened. Those contracts drop, 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 and it looks like that whale cut some of their trade yesterday at 17 cents. That whale gave up 70% or 70%, 70% there and sold those for a loss. Yeah, and see that, and you never know. Like if we go back and actually look at that flow, yeah, well, you just never know what's truly going on. Like this whale could have, like Bean said, been short the calls. Now, when you come and look at them in real time, though, your IV's staying up. Spot is filling at the ask here, and I believe these had. No, I don't see it there. I'm gonna try to go back to page. It might not cooperate because it's kind of far back there. It's about a week and a half old. It, let's, I hate trying to go back on unusual whales sometimes. Just it gets a little funky. What day did those come in again? The 24th. So 24th. Let's just do 8:30, 56. Yeah, when you try to go back, sometimes yeah, it's getting a little funky. But when this flow came in, you can see it in the flow recap. But that IV increased, everything looked good, and again, that flow moved up there. I mean, you don't know why they're placing the order. You don't know exactly what they're doing. They could be buying calls and selling 100,000 shares. You just never fully know what they're doing. So I mean, like if you followed this whale all from there and just even that next day, I mean, you're down there and it's you see profits, be smart, throw a stop on. I always tell people I'm kind of looking for at least 10% on the trades. 10% is my minimum. Anything under 10% I typically will consider a loss, but that 10% you should at least have a stop on it break even. Once you start getting up to that 10%, I mean you see 15, 20%, those are great gains. Like you see I think the big misconception is everybody should be hitting home runs constantly. That's not a thing. If you're consistently hitting those, 20, 25, 30% gains, you're going to be very happy with yourself and your portfolio instead of just aiming for like a big 300% home run. Like the ciphers, you're up 70%. That is a very significant return. That is a very, very, yes, yes. If you're consistent every day, and that's not going to be a thing either, too. I mean, it seems like it can happen, but you just have to be very smart. I mean, you're hitting those. If you hit 3 or 4 trades during the week, or let's say you take 5 trades during the week, and 3 of them are like 30% gainers, 25% gainers, and 2 of your trades are losers. Now, if you cap that loss at like 15%, 15, 20%, and it's different for each piece of flow. I always say look at a good support resistance line, and if you drop below that there, that's your cutoff. Don't get emotional about the trades. Once you get emotional about the trades, that's when it starts to really kind of impact you more. You have to be robotic when you're trading. Like it hits your stop, great. Who cares? I'm out. Don't think about it. Don't hindsight it. It hits your take profit, cool. It runs another 30%. That's okay. You secured profits. You followed your rules. You have to have rules when you're going in and trading. And oops, I don't want to do that. Why did I go back to that? Anyways, I was going to pull one of these in here as well. I think it's under. Oh, it's way up here. Nope, it's right here. Nope. Okay, it's this one. I'm gonna drop this in here too. Like this is a very basic beginner thing. Like you should have a checklist when you're trading. Like this is a good trade. Like have it's just a very very simplified checklist there. It's not to dumb anything down or make somebody feel like they're not set up properly. Like these guides I try to make so they're informative. Like I don't want anybody to feel dumb or anything. Like this is a very good learning space, and the questions that That is in the market resources. It's right under the learning section. There's some other stuff in there. There's like Fed speaker stuff and all that in there too. They're not really guides more so, but they're just yeah, no, it's right under that guide section there. If you just click on that little market resource thing under the image there, it'll bring you there too. But this it, everybody has the same questions when you're starting out trading, and I always tell people no question is a dumb question because everybody probably has had that same question at some point in their trading career, or somebody is afraid to ask it because it sounds like a dumb question. No question is dumb, and if anybody in here like says somebody's stupid for asking a question, that is let me know, because that is absolutely not the type of behavior I'm gonna like let go on in here, because this is a learning environment. There's all different levels of traders. They, I actually, Benny, the good thing is I haven't had to do that with everybody. I think everybody in here is very respectful with each other. I haven't had anybody really like say anything negative. Everybody's very helpful in here. I have Bean, I have NY Jets. I have a couple other mods that are very, very helpful. They are very great, and they they can delete messages if anybody is mean. If Bean, you never see anything bad. But no, I have people in here that have been around for a long time and can answer very basic questions. Yeah, and you know what? That is good though if you do have people that know a lot of stuff, because they can kind of explain it as well too. I mean, like NY Jets is very, very good with oil and the future scalps and stuff. I don't trade futures, so I'm happy he can kind of talk about that stuff. I'm not not very good at that stuff, but yeah, it's a learning environment. Nobody should be putting people down or anything. It's the goal. The goal. Everybody has the same goal, is to make money. Like everybody wants to make money in this market. It shouldn't be me versus you. Like I don't care if I have a winning trade and you have a losing trade. We all want to make money. It's not like you're taking money from me anyways if there's a winning trade or a losing trade. Like the goal at the end of the day is to learn, ask questions, kind of plot out. I'm trying to help teach people to fish. I know there's people busy during the day, so like you have the flow alerts for those that are busy during the day, but again, I can't stress it enough. You have to manage your own trade. I can't sit there and tell you oh boy. Oh, I bet you had fun talking to him then, Bean, huh? Oh yeah, I don't like I yeah, it's no crypto, no. I'll trade like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but not very heavily. Um, what was I going on about now? Yeah, no, everybody wants to learn, everybody wants to make money. Everybody has been a beginning trader at some point in their career, and people are at different levels, and that's the thing too. Like I know, oh, actually he hopped out, but he asked me, do I post my trades? Like you should not be taking my trade 100%. Like I will tell you the flow that I'm taking. So I mean, like it's in the tracked accounts, and then we go over that every week at the end of the week. So just because I'm taking something shouldn't necessarily mean that you should take it. Like the spy puts that I took, the let's go find them in here. The 16, I'm down 20% on them right now. My risk tolerance is completely different than somebody else's risk tolerance. I'm not super heavy into these because I know there's Trump speaking tonight. I don't know what can happen. Something it could be a hedge there. Free New York, they try. Yeah, I've never traded futures. I've never traded futures. No one knows. That's that's cool. Yeah, no, it's not easy. It's not easy, and like that's the thing too. Everybody thinks you can just step in and make money right away. you will lose money trading. Like I don't care who you are, what you say, what you think you know, you will lose money trading. Like I starting out, I mean, I probably blew about 3 4 accounts. Everybody's gonna blow some accounts, but that's why I always tell people too when you're starting out, don't force yourself into trading like $100,000 accounts. Start small. Start $500. Cause I say it's like a tuition. You're paying to learn there. Oh yeah, the TikTok traders always blow my mind there. Hey, we're getting a little drop into close there a little bit. I see. Ooh, I'll take a couple more of those candles. I'll take a couple more of those. Did our Periscope flip here? And that's the thing too. Like you'll get out of what you put into this. Like if you just show up and just think you're gonna take alerts, like great, you might get some wins here, but you're not gonna learn what you're looking for. Yeah, I took those spy puts. I really like that setup there. Do you have a guide on tax benefits for stuff? I don't, Benny. I am not a tax expert at all. I that's one I cannot really help you with there, sadly. There I would ask your accountant what you can write off. There are people like, oh, yeah, there's ways to do it. I truly don't know. I that is kind of a ask your tax person question. I would when you get your taxes done, hopefully not at like an H&R Block or like Rocket or I don't know what the others. I have like an individual tax person I go to that just isn't like a company. Like she helps me kind of help work with write-offs, lets me know what I can write off, what I can write off there. Um, it's a tax person would be able to help you 10 times better than me. Yeah, H&R Block, they I used them 1 year, and do they charge me like $800 to do my taxes? And I was like, absolutely not. Let's see. When I was beginning trading flow, I used to believe everything I saw and told myself to give up, but I'm trading all the way. Yeah, no, and that's the thing too. Like, don't, and it sounds so like you're gonna have up and down times. Like nobody's gonna have 100% win rate. You are gonna have red days. You are gonna have green days. Just try not to let emotions take over. That's the big thing. Like everything is gonna be a lesson. I mean, wins are a lesson. Losses are a lesson. I almost treat wins as more of a lesson because you can kind of see, okay, well, what could I have did better? Could I have found a better entry? If it's a loss, I mean, you can look at it the same, but like, oh, could I have did this? What did I see wrong in the flow? Usually the losses, I would probably say 80% of the time are a mental thing that happened, and that's why you're losing there. Like you didn't obey a stop or something like that. Man, we are really kind of dropping there into close, aren't we? Little drop into close. Just kind of watching that, watching my puts here. Yeah, and see, like, and that's like the thing too. Like, just because I'm like calling out entries and exits, like you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, this is I want entries and exits." My entries and exits are going to be completely different than what yours should be. Like if I know this is it's if, it just blows my mind because then you have people complain, "Oh, you told me to exit and I could have got more profits." Then why didn't you trade it yourself? Why don't you just trade it yourself? Like I'll give you the flow that looks good, but I'm not going to tell you a perfect entry or exit. Again, my risk tolerance is completely different than yours, and and everybody should be. We all have different size ports. We're all having a different position size. If I have 100 contracts on something and I'm telling you, oh, I'm exiting here, and I'm sizing out, like that doesn't help you if you're only trading one contract. Like That doesn't help. Yeah, no, I agree, Bean. Something it's we got a little relief bounce there, and yeah, oh, keep it going here. Keep it going. You're just going through that negative, and we were talking about. Let me just come back here to Periscope here. It did flip. Oh, where did we go? So we were initially kind of looking at that 6850 level. It did disappear, but we um we rejected kind of that higher negative gamma there a little bit. And I mean, this is your acceleration zone. It's you're looking for that drop through that zone, and it's going. I wonder how's tomorrow's expirations look. Oh, they're positioned down a little bit for tomorrow. Positioned down there at 6,500 too. I will take that. I will take that. How's all expirations looking? Well, they got a lot of volume at that 6,500. Yeah, we're just in the middle of that negative gamma here. Oof. Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be a sell the news thing. Ooh, yeah, that Trump presser tonight is going to be all eyes on that. Yeah, see you tomorrow. But we might not have a stream tomorrow, Benny. What is it, Thursday? It'll probably be slow tomorrow because we're off Friday. We'll see. We'll see how the volume is into the end of the day. But it may be maybe an off day for us. Yeah, Friday we're off. Friday we are off. Thankfully. Yeah, and you know, those put premiums are just climbing here too. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, no, that's a very long guide. That took me about 2 weeks to do there, so that was a very long guide, and I tried to hit as many different little angles as possible. That is probably the longest guide I've ever did, and that thing sucked to do. But I like doing them. I like doing them. They help everybody. That's the intention there. What are we gonna do here? 3 minutes left there. Can you do a live on it one day? So, I yeah, I'm so like a lot of those, and that's why it took me a little longer to kind of do that too, is because I don't trade spreads really. So it's it took me a while to kind of go through each spread and kind of make some examples there. I don't trade spreads, but I'm just not a spread trader, man. I'm just not a spread trader. I like the calls and puts. Now, if you're like selling calls or premiums, I mean that's a little different. I'll do that every once in a while. Again, I'm more of a buy call, buy put person. Let's see, VIX. Yeah, the VIX. I don't really have an opinion on the VIX kind of net premiums there. They're interesting. Um, I because the VIX is obviously going to be opposite of what the market's going to do as well. And VIX oh, cash showed up. Look at that. Cash money in the house for the last 30 seconds of the day. I'd like to see what Cash's position would be. What he's thinking. You thinking we got a false breakout here over the last couple of days, or you think we're gonna go back down? Cash is a very, very excellent trader, and he's a big futures trader. Very, very knowledgeable as well. I want to see his little thing before we got a minute left here. We were kind of looking some possibly shorting. Yeah, those put premiums are climbing. Oh, we are going back down a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, Cash is very good at the what you call it, futures, and very in tune with metals and oil. He's a very strong trader. Very good trader there. Let's see. You want to see us push up above that gap? We topped in, turn into a line that insanely. Yeah, Hey, yeah, hey, you've been in here a very long time and give a lot of good context.